Have the bye missile, which means the first game of the week. The Rabbitohs taking on the Panthers, Accor Stadium, the call live on SEN. We're looking forward to that. You'll get that on SEN League, of course. Look, before we do that, you think about that great grand final in 2021 and how things could easily have been different. And this is the thing. The Penrith Panthers, the might of the Penrith Panthers, one of the greatest sides we've ever seen in history. They've won 3 of the last 4 grand finals. They've been in all 4. However, how close this game went. Cody Walker scores a try, and at this stage, maybe on his way to the Clive Churchill if South Sydney win the game, but what a try this was.
Reynolds to the line. Walker fends through, goes further, still going, he'll go all the way. Walker scores for Souths. Brilliant. Dally-M, 5/8 of the year.
Very similar to the try that was scored by Stacey Jones in 2002 against Bears Head's Roosters. People asking about where Bears Head is too, by the way. He's back on Friday. He's in Cairns with Andrew Eddinghausen and co doing a fishing expedition. In the meantime, you know how that grand final played out, and the man who scored in the last 4 grand finals consecutively was this fella.
Too long to go. I'd certainly want to be kicking it through the corners. Oh,
there's an intercept for Crichton. Crichton, he's away. Is he away with the premiership? Stephen Crichton scores. A try now in 3 finals.
Both those guys incumbent for the New South Wales side. Crichton should walk in. Walker, the reigning man of the match, he needs to fire up here. I tell you what, he can score 9 tries from 17 versus the Panthers. He needs a big game against a bloke who'll be chasing his jumper, being Jerome Luai. How does the team news look?
So we're thinking, Joel, that there might be some team changes for South this week. Well, not really. So Tane Milne, he's got a 2-match suspension. Isaac Thompson will replace him on the wing. There are a couple of changes in the pack following the 34-point loss to the Storm. Tom Burgess goes back to the bench. Davey Moali starts at prop. Kaloa Matangi is set to be used in the front row for a second straight week. Michael Cheekham starts in the second row. Most importantly, Jack Whiten stays at centre.
Oh. You know what, right? Whatever this news is going to be at 5 o'clock, he had to go Walker and Whiten, because the worst thing is if the news comes through at 5 o'clock, which is the news he doesn't want to hear, Jason Demetrio, and the first change the coach makes is Whiten and Walker in the halves, and they put up a decent fight against Penrith, it's not a great look, is it? He had to pull the trigger. At the 11th hour, he just had to pull the trigger, in my opinion. Thoughts, missile?
I agree. And the trigger that I don't understand that he keeps pulling is you're running out Cheekham and Host as your back row pairing. It's just there are some strange selections happening at the back end of his tenure. Look, he's still down on the team sheet as coach. The coach is listed as Demetrio and Cleary, but that may change in an hour's time. Well,
I hope it doesn't. I don't love the topic of coaches being sacked, and I hope he gets a chance and maybe surprise everyone and puts it there. 1300 01 1170, and just with the Panthers.
For the Panthers, Taruva returns to the back line after being given the week off, so he replaces Paul Alamotti on the wing. Moses Leota back on deck after a week out with a shoulder complaint. Scott Sorensen, however, does remain on the sidelines.
Okay. He's missed a few games this year, Scotty Sorensen. We move on to the Seagulls take on the Raiders. My memory for this was my very first journey. We probably had the worst seats in the house at the old Sydney Football Stadium. I was there to watch my beloved Raiders. It was 1991, and this bloke in a major prelim final taking on Manly. He's playing for Canberra. He's a back rower. He has scored 1 try in the whole year. But didn't this day change things?
Mark Bell still waits to get out there. Quick tap. Coyne gets 4. Gary Coyne gets 4. That's it. It's over. While everybody was standing around, Mal Meninga took a quick tap. The Raiders are back again. The backs were turned on the MMI replay. They all walked away. Gary Coyne gets 4 tries.
And if you're in my vintage, tell me you did not want to be Graham Hughes back in the day. Missile to the left-hand side. Is it possible? It is. Every kid would get around with the upward inflection.
That's your upbringing. Yeah. I heard Rabs before. I just
please.
bring back Rabs.
I know.
So good.
Oh, we used to all do the upward inflection. Here comes the tourist. Are they a chance? Date night, Dom. He's got his best suit on. You know, it was just wonderful stuff. Great memories.
When getting that audio together for the show today, I was watching the full game highlights to find that try. And they actually missed the try on the broadcast.
Oh.
They're because Mark Bell has been sent off for 10 and he's about to come back on. So they've got the camera on him on the sideline. Oh, and that's why you hear it at the start of the audio there. And he's gone. You don't actually see the try in the highlights. You just hear
That's crazy.
He's calling it.
Graham Hughes.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I'll tell you what we might do too, tourist. The great Jaleesa Apps is out standing by at South Sydney. So we might try and drop a note to Jaleesa and have a chat to her to see what's happening out there at Heffron, to see what the latest is there for South Sydney. Jaleesa, that would be fantastic. Okay, here's the team news. The Raiders taking on Manly. The Manly side have named Captain Daly Cherry Evans. He's been named to play, but it'll be dependent upon the judiciary tonight to see if he can get a downgrade on a dangerous throw charge. Ethan Bullimore comes into the starting side in place of Hamoli Olakawatu, who is out. So he's accepted a 2-match ban for his role in the same tackle which saw Cherry Evans charged. The other thing is, too, he's had such a great record, so he's got a fair case after all those games. Torfafor Sipley returns from a knee injury, so they've got some cover for Olakawatu with Ethan Bullimore there as well. Ricky Stewart's side, well, he's wielded the axe. Albert Hopewadi, he had that bad burn. He comes back to take over from rookie Chevy Stewart at fullback. And not forgetting, so you've got Albert Hopewadi running out at fullback for where his dad won a premiership, playing for Manly, of course. John
His brother won a
Hopewadi.
premiership there as well?
Will Hopewadi, 2011, I would think, yes. Yes, I would say that as well. So he comes in at fullback. That's how that plays out. And Nick Kotrick replaces James Schiller, so a couple of the young guns are gone. Elliot Whitehead returns also, so it's definitely an older side. I'll tell you what, it was last week, that must have been the youngest backline we've ever seen. That Canberra backline, that they are desperately missing Jordan Rapana.
The spine particularly. I mean, Weeks into Strange, into Chevy Stewart at fullback. Just no experience anywhere. It's a tough lesson, 40-0. Couple of them have been axed, but surely it's the forward pack that has to stand up this week. That's where all the experience is. Regardless of who's playing in that back line, that is an all-representative forward pack. They've got to be the ones that dig them out of this hole.
Yes, the young, there's a lot of names that you can make a headline out of this for Canberra. The young Raiders side have had a savage, strange weeks, haven't they? It's been a bit like that. But they can bounce back. It's a tricky game to see how that plays out. We move on to the next game, which is, that game too, by the way, you can hear on SEN League. We have got the Broncos take on the Roosters. I think about the year 2000. I'll tell you what, Luke the Diamond Phillips, he was the fullback for Bears Heads Roosters, had one of the best performances in a beaten side in a grand final. It was the first, in fact, it was the last... Was it the last day game? I think it was the last day game of grand finals in 2000. The Broncos, red-hot Broncos side beating the Roosters. This game's at Suncorp. And tourists, what have you got?
Ezra Mam and Selwyn Cobbo, they both return.
Oh, Cobbo's back too.
They are both back in after missing round 8. Jock Madden, he is out. Cobbo comes back in as well. And Corey Oates, he's out of the side. Jesse Arthurs then shifts to the wing from the centres. And for the Roosters, Daniel Tupou is back. He takes the spot of Michael Jennings. Victor Radley has been included in the reserves. He's still working his way back from a hamstring injury when he was out for Anzac round. But, I mean, they didn't miss him in Anzac round. So
I reckon he'll play.
Yeah, you think he'll play?
This is the exact game they need him in.
And Joseph Akuso-Suali'i, he joins Joey Manu in the centres after shifting to the wing.
Okay, thank you very much,
Radley
tourist.
there, both teams are basically full strength. This is the game of the round.
Yeah,
This
it's a
is
cracker.
huge.
It's massive. It is massive.
If you had to pick this far out, where are you going?
Mam's a significant in.
Yeah?
Mam is a significant in. My young boys were watching the best tries from last year, and those tries popped up for Mam in the grand final. How good was that?
Yeah.
I mentioned Luke Diamond Phillips, one of the better performers in a beaten side. Holy dooly. How did Ezra Mam? He had the Clive, and then Cleary turned up with a cape to pinch his second one. So there you go there. Bulldogs take on the West Tigers, Accor Stadium, 3 p.m. Missile. You think of this game, Bulldogs and the West Tigers. I think of, you think of Terry Lamb, don't you?
Terry Lamb.
For a different reason to me.
Well, I was thinking because he played for both clubs,
West and
West
Bulldogs.
and the Bulldogs. But of course, he did also take Ellery Hanley's head
That's
off
right.
his shoulders.
That's exactly
So that
right.
was a nice moment.
It's
for
the Terry
everyone.
Lamb day, that's for sure. No doubt
He also
about that.
coached the West Tigers.
That's right.
Did he coach you?
He did.
How was he as a coach?
He did, yeah, he's good. Good
Not the
fella.
most successful.
No, he was a good fella, Bar. Bulldogs and the West Tigers, yes. This is going to be a big game. 3 p.m. Is Appy Coruscant? Please tell me he's on the list.
He's there for now, Joel. He's there for now, but I'm a little bit dubious as to whether he plays. However, the troops are returning for the Bulldogs. Kurt Mann back, starting at lock. He's overcome a hand injury. Jacob Preston is named in the extended bench. He, of course, had that broken jaw in round 4. The fact that he's in that extended bench means he's a chance. Connor Tracy has been preferred again at fullback. Love that. Blake Taff on the bench. This still may be the smallest bench in NRL history.
Yeah.
Bailey Hayward, Curtis Moran, Blake Taff. They'd all have to be sub 90 kilos, I'd imagine. Sam Hughes, the bigger frame on the bench. And for the Tigers, Benji Marshall has kept the same 17, which went down to the Broncos. So, when you get a hammering like that, just pick and stick, I reckon, particularly when you're playing the Bulldogs. I'm very happy with that. Coruscant set to play despite suffering a back problem, and Union convert how do you say that? Alamalo. He's kept his spot on the wing.
Okay. Interesting to see how that plays out. Big game, Accor Stadium. We move on to the next game, and that is the Storm taking on the Titans. Now, I like this. I like the mentality around this. This game's gone back to Seabus Super Stadium. Home game for the Titans. Now, Khan Pereira is out of the 17. Aaron Chop drops out in place of Philip Sami and Harley Smith-Shields. So, Representative Prop Mo Fodawaker is out. That's a big out with a concussion. Joe Stimson starts at prop. David Feeder is named to start, but could, as we've seen before, make a late switch to the bench. So, he's made changes from a winning side missile, and there's the old saying, fix the roof when the sun's out. You don't have to wait for things to go bad. If you saw some faults in a win, it's okay to make changes. Fix the roof while the sun's out.
Is there anything you don't have a saying for?
No, I don't.
Maybe
I
I
thought
don't
you were
know.
going to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's another saying.
That's another one.
They did win.
That's another one.
I clearly don't know as much about NRL as you guys, but I just can't see how you can be dropping Lofi Khan Pereira after the performance I thought he had last week. I thought it was great last week.
I'd be pissed
He's one of the
if
most
I
exciting players, and they won.
Yeah, I'd be pissed if my side won and then my coach dropped me. I'd be like, are you serious, mate? Look, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Maybe he's late to training. Maybe I had to wrestle 30 players. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. So it must be something more than just the performance, because he has been good. I can't understand how he doesn't walk up to in that side every day of the year.
I tell you what we need. So with the Melbourne Storm, Tyron Wishart, he's going to be playing on the wing. So he got moved to the wing last week. Xavier Coates, of course, scored the hat-trick in the first half, comes off with a hamstring concern. He's out. Nelson Asofa Solomona has been named despite picking up an injury concern on Anzac Day. And Cameron Munster, he's playing game 200. Game 199 was out of this world. But just getting back to Tyron Wishart. Dear Melbourne Storm, please, if you're going to send him out in the same jumper that his dad Rod Wishart wore, famously with the high cap boots, make it compulsory that Tyron runs out.
High cap boots.
High cap boots. And he played over in England one day, and I think it was Andrew Eddinghausen perhaps, or there was somebody who got drafted in for Rod Wishart, and they didn't have the boots, so they had to borrow Rod Wishart's boots, the high cap boots, and they're walking around the sheds. And Bozo, the late Bozo, Bob Fulton, said, this is in front of the team. What the hell are they? Get them off. He was laughing at him. So we need Tyron Wishart.
Yeah, that'd be great.
For the benefit of the whole of rugby league,
I'm
to
not sure
trot
if
out at Seabus Super Stadium.
There is a high cut boot.
We've got to get him.
Do the NFL have a high cut, Mark?
I don't
a
think so.
higher
No.
cut than an NRL boot that dips under the ankle. Was it for ankle stability?
I don't know, but Rod Wishart had it, and it was a thing of beauty. We
Put it in our socials, Mark.
He'd have it as well. He'd have the boots. Imagine him coming out in the wing.
Yeah.
If they're leading by plenty with 20 to go, I want to see him, Melbourne Storm play with 12, slide off, and put the Rod Wishart high cap boot on.
When was the last time you saw Rod Wishart?
We interviewed him about 12 months ago. Champion.
Apparently he's in grouse shape.
Yeah.
He stayed in top nick post-career.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Not to ruin this lovely story about Tyron Wishart on the wing, but 19th man.
Yeah,
Number
Suafalongo.
19, Suafalongo.
That's
He's
it.
back. He was playing New South Wales Cup last week.
Yep.
Is he not a shout for a run on the wing instead of Tyrone Wishart?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
He's exciting.
I did think that. I did actually think
Good
that,
point.
but interesting to see how that plays out. That's a big game. Cowboys take on the Dolphins. Tourists take us to Queensland Country Bank Stadium.
Hylam Michael Lukey returns.
Oh, yeah.
First game since round 2. Back from the injury. It means that Jake Granville drops to the wide reserves. And Viliami Valea, he is the man who replaces Tom Chester, who is out with a hamstring injury, we think, for about a month. For the Dolphins, big boost. Felice Kafusi and Connolly Lemulemu, they're named to make a return. And Jesse Bromwich, he will also play, despite having a calf issue in round 8. However, Kenny Bromwich, he is out after failing a HIA. And Oren Cayley is the other player who drops out at the 17.
2 words for the Cowboys: must win.
Must win.
Couldn't agree more.
Must win.
Must defend.
At home, have to. You have to.
Must win, must defend. Okay, Missile, let's take it home. Knights take on the Warriors. Sunday afternoon, McDonald Jones Stadium.
This is what we call a poo slinger.
Oh,
2 p.m. Sunday,
reckon?
the Knights take on the Warriors. I do reckon. Adam O'Brien has named an unchanged 17 from last Sunday's win over the Dolphins. Saifidi of the Jacob variety could be in doubt after failing to finish the game due to a lower leg injury. David Armstrong will again be at fullback after making a try-scoring debut last round. For the Warriors, a timely injection of experience for the Kiwi side as they aim to end a 3-game winless streak, with back rower Kurt Capewell returning from a throat injury and Bunty Afloa set to play after timeout with a hamstring injury. That bumps rookie Jacob Laban back to the bench while Paul Roche and Zion Maiu'u drop out of the side.
okay, there you go. Let's take it home. The Sharks take on the Dragons. And you know what? This particular performance, I think it's one of the greatest performances ever in a game of rugby league.
Brown. Mundine! The ball is on the ground. Clark will give it. He points to the spot. Mundine is over for the Dragons. I said for St George Illawarra to be successful. Mundine! Mundine! He's away! And scored! There she goes! There goes another one! Ho, 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 ho!
Unbelievable. 3 tries for Anthony Mundine to send the St George Illawarra Dragons into a grand final against the Sharks. It was one of the great performances in front of a bumper crowd at Stadium Australia. It was a cracking day to be at. The Dragons beating the Sharkies in the local derby with a prized chance to go into a grand final, and they were raging hot favourites the following week. They led 14-0. Nathan Blacklock skips away. A Noddy Kamali chip and chase goes wrong.
Yeah.
14-0. They're just going to get it done. They beat the Melbourne Storm in the first final. So they met them in the first final, then again in the grand final. And they pumped them by 30. So you've pumped them by 30. You're up 14-0 in the grand final. You're the hot pot. Somehow Melbourne come out of it.
Penalty try.
Yeah.
Killer. This one, of course, as well as the Shane Flanagan Cup.
Yes.
You hear the
fighting
talk from-
words, wasn't
yeah,
there?
Fighting words. Love it. There hasn't been enough made of that yet. I'm sure it'll heat up as we get closer to game day. What is it? That's Sunday, so we're still 5 days away.
Yep.
But I want more trash talk from Shane Flanagan against his former club.
Yes, I love that stuff too. Toby Rudolph's the only change. So he comes onto the Judith bench, onto the bench in the place of Tuku Hautapua. So he goes back to the replacements. Daniel Atkinson stays, which he was very, very good, in the halves with Nico Hines. How close is Nico to the Sky Blue number 6? That's the question. No Moses Suley. So Zach Lomax moves from the wing to the centres. Ravalawa comes in on the flank after missing round 8 with a knee problem. And Luciano Leilua has been named in the reserve. So he's still trying to come back from a calf injury, tourist.
It's something I'm going to have to look into, but I'd love to know how many times Zach Lomax has moved from the wing to the centre or the centre to the wing in the first 8 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Probably
And
5
all the chat
times.
around, it's been ridiculous.
Yep.
How much he has to move, and all the chat around where he's going to play at the Eel. Ugh.
So
I'm
he'll
over
go.
it.
He'll
New
get.
South Wales number 5.
New South Wales number
Lomax.
5, or does he play in?
Interesting to see how that plays out. So there you go. That is the team list Tuesday done and dusted. You can catch up on the podcast. We'll recap some of the big moves a little bit later on. Keep your texts coming through 0457 736 736. Still to come. We're only approaching half time here on the run home with Joel and the Missile. Thanks to the Hyundai Staria Load Van. Drive one a Hyundai Staria Load Van from $49,490. T's and C's apply. We've got True Crime Tuesday with Toby Dow to talk all things OJ Simpson. We've got Matty Johns to talk all things rugby league. We've got Tommy Papley to talk all things up there, Kazali. Breaking back with more.